You're listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast, episode 23.
Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Hi there, Phil here, and welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast, where I chat with inspiring IT professionals, consultants, and experts every week. To find out more about the podcast, visit itcareerenergizer.com. And now let's chat with today's featured guest, Kevin Beaver. Kevin has more than 28 years of experience in IT, the last 22 years of which have been dedicated to computer and information security. Kevin is author or co-author of a dozen information security books, including the best-selling Hacking For Dummies, Hacking Wireless Networks For Dummies, and the Practical Guide to HIPAA Privacy and Security Compliance. As well as a prolific writer, Kevin is also creator and author of the Security on Wheels information security audio programs. So Kevin, can I ask you to add to that brief bio and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Absolutely, Phil. First of all, thanks for having me on today. This is going to be exciting. I like to think about myself as a technical guy at heart who balances some common sense and some pragmatism in with my work in information security. I've sort of seen the good, the bad, and the ugly as it relates to security. Done a lot in the space. I've made a lot of mistakes myself, and this is such an awesome field to be in, and I'm so glad to be able to share some thoughts on it with your audience.
Yeah, I think it's a field we haven't really touched on so far within the IT Career Energizer podcast, but I think it's an area that we ought to look at a little bit more in future, and I'm hoping you'll be able to give us a good insight into it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Can you share with us a unique career tip that the IT Career Energizer audience need to know and probably don't?
Wow, there's so many tips, so many things that I've learned over the years. I would say, when it comes to IT, generally speaking, and even in the smaller specialty of mine of security, if you want to be successful, if you want to be able to sell yourself, if you want to get people on your side and keep them on your side, you need to look at the bigger picture. And what I mean by that is not get caught off in the weeds with all of the technical stuff in your day-to-day IT work. There's so many people who are super smart that they know all of this stuff about all these different protocols and software and technologies and security products and all this stuff, but they don't really have the ability to see the bigger picture in terms of the business and what it is the business is trying to accomplish. And they have trouble communicating to management. They have trouble communicating to their peers and especially their subordinates or, people that they may see as, at a lower position than them within the organization. So I think it's super important to have those technical skills, but you absolutely have to balance it with some business common sense and some communication skills if you're going to move ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I think technical skills is just part of the overall skill set that you need. It's only part of the picture, and without that other part, you're not going to progress very quickly.
Yep, absolutely.
Can you tell us about your worst IT career moment and what you potentially learned from that experience?
Oh wow! How much time do you have? When you say that, I immediately think back. This was back in 2001, back when in the days of the .com bubble and its impending burst. I was working for an organization. This was my last real job, and no, this isn't the reason that this was my last real job, I just made a dumb mistake, and I'll never forget it. I was installing a new system. Actually, we had several new systems up and running. They were servers, workstations, databases, whatever. But in particular, I had one particular system that was Windows 2000 server.
Yeah.
And it had been running for a couple of days. We were already dependent on it. It had files, and it had all the stuff that the business was already in the process of using. And being a security guy, I knew that I needed to apply all of the latest security updates from Microsoft, and there were a few other vendors involved. So what did I do? Well, I downloaded all the updates and installed them all, and didn't think anything about actually testing them, actually taking my time to be measured in my approach. And guess what happened? The server rebooted after all the updates. It was literally dozens and dozens of updates.
Yeah.
Server rebooted and didn't come back up. So guess where I spent the night? In my office.
Yeah.
So as important as patching is and was even back then, it was a good lesson learned, and it was one of those things where, okay, I thought I knew what I was doing. I was still pretty technical and had everything under control. At least I thought I did. And I took that approach, and man, it did not work. It backfired. We had a lot of downtime, through like half of the next day, and it was just an ugly thing. And granted, this was a relatively benign situation, and I've got other stories of taking firewalls and routers offline and all this other stuff, but that's the one that sticks out in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose fortunately it was an operating system, so presumably you didn't lose too much.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank goodness we just lost time.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from your worst moment, can you share with us your IT career highlight or greatest success?
I think the greatest success that I originally had and continue to have is writing and then publishing my book, Hacking for Dummies.
Yeah.
It was so much effort. It was so much blood, sweat, and tears, especially going into that first edition. It was a book that my publisher originally wanted me to write in like 3 months, and I think it took me 5 or 6. And I had a lot going on. I just gotten married, had a new baby, and oh my gosh, I was overwhelmed and couldn't think clearly, but yet still I had a book to write. And just getting all that completed and seeing it in print, that was a glorious moment. And now it's in its 5th edition, and it's been a great thing for me, especially being, an independent consultant working for myself. It's been a great tool to sort of rely on to, I guess, establish my credibility and just to show that, hey, you may not know my name, but I have done this, and yes, that if anything, it lends a little bit of credibility to what I do in my work. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. What year was it first published?
It came out in 2003.
Right.
So it's been out for how long ago is that? 14 years ago. It's been a while.
Do you have an idea of how many copies have actually been sold?
I don't know. I don't have an exact number, but I want to say it's approaching a couple of 100,000.
Wow. So that's significant.
Yeah. It's I'm not going to retire off of it. No. And it's not like one of those romance novels that sells millions of copies. No, but it's been good for me. It's been good for my career, and I guess the book and then hacking in general has gotten enough publicity that not too long ago, just a couple months ago, the book was actually featured in a made-for-TV movie. So
yes.
Yeah, that was really neat to see it on the TV screen. Okay.
What's one thing that excites you about the future of a career in IT?
To me, the thing that sort of drew me into IT and security originally, and the thing that keeps me going, the thing that keeps me excited is the opportunity. There's so much growth potential. There's so much stuff to learn.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff to manage, and obviously there's so much stuff to secure. It literally there is just unlimited opportunity, and that opportunity lends itself to another one of my favorite things, which is freedom. And that's part of why I work for myself. I like to have that freedom and be able to call my own shots. And man, I think the job security that comes out of this, with the technologies that are ever changing, with the same old security stuff that keeps haunting everyone. I think this is such an amazing field, and I feel fortunate that I chose to go down the path and specialize in security, because there's such a high demand for the skills that we have to bring to the table, and it's a great place to be.
Yeah, I'm sure that's absolutely true. It seems that security is going to get even more important as we progress.
Right.
There's always a new way of penetrating a system or losing data in
Absolutely.
terms of what financial institutions are doing, and all sorts of possibilities there.
Yeah, and you think about the Internet of Things and
Yep.
all the devices that fall into that category. I mean, that's sort of taking IT and security up to an entirely new level. It's just exponential growth and again, opportunities.
So personally, I see security as an amazing area for people to get into if they want to develop an IT career.
It is. I highly recommend it.
Okay, it's time for the reveal. Are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
So what first attracted you to a career in IT?
I'm going to give this credit to my mom back in a long time ago. Before I ever went to college, she said, you should go to school and study computers. Those are going to be really big someday. So it's all for my mom, Linda.
What is the best career advice you've ever received?
Stick-to-itiveness. You've got to, if you want to accomplish something, if you want to be a leader in the field, you've got to take action, and you've got to stick with it. You've got to keep doing it over and over and over again, no matter how many naysayers there are, no matter how much negativity and roadblocks you come up against. You just have to keep pushing forward.
If you were to begin your IT career again right now, what would you do?
I would do the same thing. I would get involved in security, because it's so lucrative. There's so much cool stuff going on. Security for the win.
Just so I know, how would you do that? What would you focus on first?
That's a great question. I'm asked that quite often. You need to understand software. You need to understand operating systems. You need to understand networking protocols, and even that boring old OSI model that they teach you in school or in the certain certification programs. You've got to learn the basics. I feel like if you're going to be really successful, or if you're going to be any level of successful in IT and security, you have to understand those fundamentals.
What career objectives are you focusing on right now?
I'm actually just continuing what I've been focusing on all along, and this is something that I have on my goal list, my goal document that I refer to a few times a week. It's just being an expert in my field and being a person of value, someone who can bring some ideas, maybe some different angles of thought to the security discussion, and just being a sort of a leader in the field. Not everyone wants to be or has to be a leader, but I want to be. I feel like I have to be if I'm going to be successful, especially out on my own. But yeah, it's continuing the same stuff. It's just trying to continually better myself and be known as a person of value.
What's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career to date?
My communication skills, both verbal and written, hands down. Yeah. That's the one thing. It will help you excel in your IT career, or it will break your IT career. If you cannot communicate in writing and you cannot communicate in person, face to face, it's an advantage. I feel like it's a competitive advantage that I have. I'm really not that smart. I've just figured out how to combine some communication with, I guess, some halfway decent technical skills. But you definitely need to have both if you're going to stand out above the noise.
Yeah. In terms of your writing, obviously you've written a number of books. Are there any more on the horizon?
I actually am working on something right now. I haven't fully developed the title, haven't even started writing it, but I have a ton of notes and a ton of information that I'm going to start building on, and I'm going to build it out, and it's going to be the whole premise of it is, or it involves the psychology of security. And why we're at where we're at, and why we keep making the same mistakes, and how to actually push past that so we can get better.
Okay, yeah, sounds interesting. You have to let me know more about that when you finish it. Absolutely. Could you share a parting piece of career advice with the IT Career Energizer audience?
Yes, you've got to get your name out there. You've got to get to know people in and around IT, in and around business, whatever specialty area that you're going to focus on. I found, and this goes for whether or not you work for yourself, whether or not you work for someone else, a corporation, a nonprofit, a government agency. It's all about who knows you. Who knows you? And who knows you in a positive way, ideally. You can get your name out there, but you don't want it to necessarily be in a negative light. So who knows you in a positive way, and sort of related to that, and this is something that I tell people all the time, is that you're self-employed, and you're self-employed as a salesperson. Every one of us in IT, everyone in security, anything related to this field, you are continually trying to or required to sell yourself, sell your ideas, get people on board, keep them on board, and foster those relationships. So study the concept of sales and make sure that your communications abilities are on par, not really on par. Make sure that they excel and can help you stand out, because again, it's a super important aspect of where you go, what kind of job you get, how you build out your career, and even how much money you make. Yes, I totally agree with that. And finally, can you tell us the best way that we can find out more about you and potentially connect with you? Absolutely. I always love it when people reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn. You can just look up Kevin Beaver on LinkedIn. Twitter, I'm at Kevin Beaver. And my website, principallogic.com. That's principal with an L-E at the end of it, principallogic.com. That you can link to my other channels. I have a YouTube channel. We actually have a Facebook page. I've got links to most of my articles and webcasts and the other content that I've created, all there on my website, principallogic.com. So thanks for asking. Okay. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me on the IT Career Energizer podcast today. It's been great talking with you. Absolutely, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's great interview with Kevin Beaver. Full show notes can be found on the website at itcareerenergizer.com/E23. And while you're at the website, you can download your free copy of 11 top career tips for IT professionals, many of which have been previously discussed on the show. In next week's episode, I'll be talking with Rylan Layton, author of the book The Agile Business Analyst, Moving from Waterfall to Agile. If you haven't done so already, please remember to subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher to get future episodes automatically downloaded to your device. And if you're enjoying the podcast, I'd really appreciate you leaving a rating and review in iTunes or Stitcher about the show. So until next Monday, have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.